Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. Hi, I'm Gabriel Aldort with Yamaha, and it's always a pleasure to be here with Kraft Music. Today is an exciting day because I get to talk about and show you and take you through the P-515. Now, Yamaha, largest manufacturer of musical instruments, 1 out of every 4 musical instruments sold in the world is a Yamaha P-Series. Boy, this is a winning combination. The P-Series, a long, prestigious lineage, best-selling digital pianos in the world. Now, we're always going to be taking our products to the next level. But the P-515 is one of those products that comes along every once in a while that leapfrogs everything else and redefines the genre and what's possible in a portable digital piano. Going to talk about a lot of firsts on the P-515. First, NWX action, natural weighted keys with escapement, and synthetic textured ebony and ivory keytops. The only other keyboards you can get this action in before now are the Clavinovas by Yamaha, an incredible, prestigious brand of digital pianos. Moving on, 2 iconic, world-class 9-foot concert grand pianos, the Yamaha CFX and the Bösendorfer. Binaural sampling on the CFX. Those piano samples have virtual resonance modeling, string resonance, and damper resonance, and key-off samples, the deepest, most expressive pianos ever to be put in a P-Series. In addition to the brand new 40 panel voices, we have an additional 480 XG voices. Now, what are you going to do with all those? Well, I'm glad you asked. We added a 16-track sequencer. Also, first time on a P-Series, Bluetooth wireless connectivity. You can stream wireless audio from your smart device to the speakers of the P-515. The ability to be able to record a stereo wave file, professional audio directly to a thumb drive. That's another cool feature. Also, this P-515 is now compatible with the Smart Pianist app, which revolutionizes the way you interface with this instrument. There's so much more, but you know what? Let's jump right on in and go for a tour of the P-515. Now today we're showing the P-515 with the optional L515 stand and the optional LP1 triple pedal unit. Now these accessories are available in some of the home bundles of Kraft Music, so for a great deal, make sure you check them out. Now let's talk a little bit about this action, the NWX action. NW stands for natural wood, so all the keys are wooden. The X stands for escapement. The only other place you can get this action currently is in a Yamaha Clavinova. The Clavinova was named by Time magazine as one of the 50 most influential gadgets of all time. It's had a huge impact on the world, and it's taught many, many different people how to play piano. So, going back, synthetic textured ebony and ivory keytops, once again, comes from Clavinova. So we've taken the action into P-Series to a whole new level. As I mentioned before, another first for a P-Series, 2 iconic 9-foot concert grand pianos. Yamaha's very own CFX 9-foot concert grand is taking over concert hall stages all over the world, and the legendary Bösendorfer Imperial. First time ever, beautifully represented in the P-515. So here's the CFX Yamaha 9-foot concert grand, which has a bold and robust and crisp sound. Now let's contrast that with the Bösendorfer Imperial, which has a huge, beautiful, warm sound, as you'll hear right now. Now, as impressive and amazing as those 2 9-foot concert grand pianos sound, you might want to tailor them or customize them a little more to your liking. That's what Piano Room's for. Now let's dive into Piano Room and make a couple modifications, maybe even put a piano in a different environment. So I'm going to select the iconic Yamaha CFX 9-foot concert grand, as you can see right here on the screen. And all I have to do is just enter the Piano Room, and here we are. Now, the first thing you're going to see is the ability to be able to change the lid position. Now, the lid is completely open here, but if I want, I can close it, and you can hear the difference. I'm going to do a trickle down on the keyboard, and then I'm going to open it up in real time, and you'll hear the change in tonality, just as you would with an acoustic 9-foot concert grand that you could open and close the lid on. Now, I'm not going to go through every feature in Piano Room because that would take up all our time, but I'm going to go over some of the most important ones. So moving on, we have the brightness. So you have the ability to soften the piano or make it even brighter. Right now, it's set at the default setting of 5. Next, you can change the touch curve. This is very important for players of all ages because if you're a really hard player, you can set the velocity curve to hard. So it takes more energy to produce a tone. And if you're a very soft player, this is great for elderly players where you don't need to exert as much pressure. You can set it to soft. So you can basically set it just the way you want it. And in any menu in Piano Room, to get back to default, you just hit the left and right cursors simultaneously. And that takes us back to touch medium. Now, next up, this is one of my favorite menus within Piano Room, the ability to place your piano in a different environment. So right now you can see we're in a recital hall, and it sounds like we're playing a Yamaha CFX 9-foot concert grand in a recital hall. But let's say I want to change the environment. I want to put that 9-foot concert grand in a concert hall. And now the reverb is going to be even larger because we're playing in a larger space. Another thing you can do is you can change the reverb within that environment. So if I go down one menu, you see the reverb depth is set at 10. Now let's crank it up so we can really hear. I'm going to take it all the way up to 70. Now I'm going to play the same thing I played before in the concert hall with the reverb depth at 70. Now, while the P-515 benefits from having this backlit display, which can show you pertinent information, like these different environments, the concert hall or the chamber or the cathedral, when we get around to connecting the Smart Pianist app, you're going to be blown away because the visual representations of all the menus on Smart Pianist revolutionize the user experience. We're going to get to that a little later. Now, in addition to the two world-class iconic 9-foot concert grand pianos, there's an additional 38 brand new piano voices, and they're each represented by a category. So in piano, I can either use the cursor buttons to scroll through, or I can just keep hitting the category button, piano, CFX grand, Bösendorfer, there's a studio grand, a bright grand, different pianos for different applications. And you'll find that there's a piano in here for just about everybody. Now, if you like electric pianos, we have got you covered. We've got all new electric piano sounds right here in their own category. We've got the DX electric piano from the classic DX7. We've got phaser. We've got soft. We've got a Whirly in here. We've got Fender Rhodes. Moving on, we've got a whole new bunch of organs, the classic Tutty organ if you want to play Phantom of the Opera. We've got jazz organs. We've got rock organs. Also, we've got harpsichords. There's clavinets in here if you like that funky sound. Even a vibraphone for you smooth cats. And then some beautiful strings. We've actually added brand new string samples. Strings, there's beautiful slow strings. There's choir in here. And a first on a P-Series, there's a slow choir, which sounds incredible when you layer it with another sound. Dark pad sounds, some nice synthy sounds. And then over here we've got some basses, acoustic and electric basses. One of my favorites that I use with a split is a bass and a cymbal sound, fretless bass, and a couple guitars. So I just mentioned setting up layers and splits. Let me show you how to do that. So the first thing you're going to do is take the first sound you want. In this case, I'm going to use a CFX 9-foot concert grand because it's amazing. All I have to do is hit the dual/split button, and you'll see that a second sound appears on the bottom. Now that is our layered sound. Now, I don't want to layer two 9-foot concert grands, although that sounds very enticing, and it would probably sound amazing. I'm going to layer it with, say, those amazing choirs that I was telling you about. So let's go in here and we'll grab the slow choir. Listen to this. Now to split, you just hit the dual split button twice. And now you can see on the left part, I have bass and cymbal. That's exactly what I wanted. Now, if you're wondering how to set the split point, it is super quick and easy. All you do is hold down the dual split button and press a key on the keyboard. And voila, the split point is now set at F2. And now I'm going to go really crazy. I'm going to do a layer and a split at the same time. And in order to do that, you just have to hit the dual split button 3 times. Now you can see the right 1 part and the right 2 part. So I have the CFX Grand with the slow choir. Those are both layered. And then the left part is my split. So let's see. I think I'm going to change the left part and get a fretless bass. A fretless bass with a CFX Grand and a slow choir. Sounds interesting. But that's one of the cool things you can do. Limitless possibilities of splitting and layering with the P-515. Now that sounds pretty good, but you know, there's something missing. A rhythm. It's a good thing that the P-515 has 40 new rhythms. Now, out of those 40 rhythms, I've found one that I think will cater well to what I was playing before. It's called 8-Beat Ballad 2. And it's notable to mention that the rhythms have intros and endings, just to add a little spice for you. Okay, now as soon as I hit that rhythm button, the rhythm's going to come in, and I'm going to play my jam. All right, moving on, let's talk about one of the coolest features of the P-515, the 16-track sequencer. I know, it allows you to lay down up to 16 tracks of MIDI, which is just phenomenal. First time ever in a P-Series. So, let's start. I'm going to do a quick little multi-track recording. And the first thing to do when you're doing a multi-track recording is to start with the very first instrument. And in this case, I'm going to start with the CFX 9-foot Concert Grand. Now, all I have to do is just hit the record button. You'll see that the screen comes up. It's in standby, okay, which means it's waiting for me to play. As soon as I start playing, it's going to start recording. Now, what I find useful when doing a multi-track recording is to use the metronome because it allows you to stay in time, especially when you're laying down multiple tracks. So I'm going to turn the metronome on before I get started. Now, when I'm finished playing, I simply hit the play/pause button, and it gives me an option. Save, retry, or cancel. I'm going to save it because I want to lay down another track. As soon as I save it, it's going to name it User Song 001. Now, I can rename that to anything I want, but I'm going to keep it User Song 001 for now. Now, the second part of recording a multi-track recording is to pick your second instrument. So in this case, I'm going to go into Others, and I'm going to pick, there it is, the acoustic bass. Now, this is very important. To get into the extra tracks, you simply hold down the record button, and it asks me, do I want to do a new song, or do I want to work on an existing song? And there it is, user song 001. Now, when I go in, I recorded that track 1 on the right part. As you see, there's a left part and there's a right part, and right is technically the second track, and you see there's a little asterisk in the upper right corner. That shows me that there's recorded data on that track. Now, if I go to the right, I can see extra 3, extra 4, all the way up to extra 16, and those are your 16 tracks. I'm going to go back to extra 3, I'm going to turn the metronome on, and I'm going to lay down my bass line. I hit play pause to stop it. Now, do I want to retry? For time's sake, I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to save it as well. I'm just going to do one more track. And in order to do that, I need to find another sound. So in this case, I'm going to pick some drums. Now, this brings up an interesting point because I mentioned before 480 XG sounds exist within P-515, and the drum kits are in the XG sound set. Now, to access the XG voices, all you have to do is hold down the function button and hit the Others bank. And now you'll see all the categories here: pianos, chromatic percussion, organs, guitars, basses, etc. As I said, 480 instruments, so there's a little bit for everybody in there. I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom here, and we're going to find the drum kits. And here we've got standard kits, we've got room kits, electronic kits, analog kits, jazz and brush kits. I'm going to go back up to the top and just use the standard kit. All right, now, like I said before, all I have to do is hold down that record button and user song 001 appears. I select it, and then I'm going to go over. Look, extra 3 has an asterisk. That means that there's recorded data because I have 2 recorded tracks. I'm going to go to extra 4, turn the metronome on, and as soon as I hit play, it's going to play back my 2 previously recorded tracks, and I'm going to lay down my drums. Here we go. So now that we've recorded our 3-track masterpiece, what are we going to do with it? Well, you've got options with the P-515. I can either save it to a USB thumb drive as a MIDI file. I could convert that MIDI file within the P-515 to a stereo wave file if I'm using an attached USB thumb drive. Now, a stereo wave file is CD quality. That's professional audio, 44.1, 16-bit. So that's what the professionals use. And also, if I have Smart Pianist app connected, I can record that into the Smart Pianist app and bypass the USB thumb drive altogether. All right, now let's talk about connectivity in the P-515, okay? Starting from left to right, we have an 1/8-inch auxiliary input. This is awesome because you can take a line out of any audio device and play the audio through the speakers of the P-515. And I'll tell you, a really cool workaround is that if you have a little mixer and you plug a microphone into that mixer and you take a line out of that mixer into the aux in, you can actually record your vocal with the 16-track MIDI recorder directly to a USB thumb drive as a stereo wave file in real time. I did it before on the P-255, and you can definitely do it on the P-515. Moving on, we have the stereo balanced 1/4-inch line outs, left and right for pure stereo. Next, we have the USB to host port, which is generally used to connect the P-515 to a computer. Okay, right next to that, you have the 5-pin MIDI jacks, which is great, MIDI in and out. And all the way in the end is the damper pedal jack. Now, we're not using that jack right now because we're using the optional LP1 triple pedal unit. Now, we talked about wired connections, but now let's talk about something new on the P-515, which is wireless Bluetooth connectivity, which is amazing because you can stream music wirelessly to the speakers of the P-515 using your smart device. Now, connectivity is a breeze. All you have to do to pair the P-515 with your smart device is just hold down the function button. You see there's a little Bluetooth symbol there, and it just pairs it up. Pretty cool, right? Now let's take a closer look at the Smart Pianist app that I mentioned earlier. And while you can access all the functionality of the P-515 from the front panel itself, you might be digging through a number of menus to get to some of these features. The Smart Pianist app makes navigation a breeze. Let's check it out. Now there's two ways to connect Smart Pianist and your iOS device to the P-515. One is a wired connection. All you need is a standard USB cable and the Apple adapter USB to Lightning, which you can get at any Apple store. Now we're going with option B, which is wireless connectivity using Yamaha's very own UD-WL01. I've inserted it into the USB to device port. Setup is very quick and easy, and now we're wirelessly connected to the iPad, and I'm running Smart Pianist. Now, when you start up Smart Pianist and you get it all connected, the default mode is Piano Room. And as you can see here, it's beautifully represented. You see the 9-foot concert grand, the CFX by Yamaha. I can open and close the lid with just a couple swipes of my finger, and I can change the environment that I play that piano in. I can even go in and change the reverb if I want. Here's the whole Piano Room setting menu. Environment, let's crank up that reverb here and take a listen. And to get back to default, all I have to do is double tap on that slider and it goes back to 10% just as it was on the 515. Okay, so here you see everything. Lid position, brightness, the touch curve, the environments, master tuning, all the resonance modeling, the damper and string resonance and aliquot body resonance, all that. So that's the Piano Room in the P-515 on Smart Pianist, beautifully represented. Now you'll notice at the bottom here, you have 4 icons: record, registration, metronome, and rhythms, and our mixer. Now, no matter what mode we're in, these 4 are always going to be here, because if you're in voice mode or song mode or Piano Room, you're always going to want to be able to record. You're always going to want to be able to save a registration or a preset of a split or a layer with the balance set and all that stuff. So now let's move on. Up here in the upper left-hand corner, these are our different modes. Let's go to voice mode. And as you can see, there's the CFX 9-foot concert grand. Now, selecting a different instrument is as simple as just tapping on it, and here's all the categories. Here's all our pianos right here: Bösendorfer, the Studio Grand, Pop Grand, Jazz Grand, etc. And you'll notice these stars over here. If I like, let's say, of course, the CFX Concert Grand, I can favorite it. Oh, I like that Jazz Grand. Favorite that too. And then right up here, You go into your favorites, and they're going to be there for you whenever you want them. Now, let's move on. Here's all your organs, and you can see they're beautifully represented. If I pick this harpsichord here, and I go back out, look at that beautiful imagery of a classic harpsichord. Now, let's go back to piano and pick the CFX Concert Grand and do a little splitting and layering. Layering is a breeze. I just hit the layer button. Boom, there's our strings. I can go in and change that sound. Let's say I want slow strings, or maybe the slow choir that I did on my P-515 demo. There we go right here. And the balance right here. If I want to change the volume between the layer and the main voice, it's just as easy as moving these sliders up and down. Close that out. Or let's say I want to bring in a left voice. There's my bass. Maybe I want the bass and cymbal. There we go. Very, very easy. Now let's say I have my bass and I want to change my split point. Well, it's as simple as just dragging this and dragging it wherever you want it on the keyboard right here. Very, very simple. Okay? Now let's say I've set my split point. I've got my bass and cymbal and my layer, and I've gone into the mixer, and I've set my levels and everything, and I want to save that. Well, boom, save it right here as a registration. I can name it, let's say Jammy, and hit save. Now there's Jammy. I can recall that registration whenever I want. Okay, now it's important to note that let's get rid of this left and this layer here. What if I want to access those 480 XG voices? Well, I go in right here at the bottom. There's the XG bank. And boy, look at all the categories of instruments: guitars, basses, drums, pretty much everything you'd find in an orchestra. All your horns, all your brass and your woodwinds, your synthesizers, ethnic instruments, sound effects, drums. I mean, we've got it all in here. Drum kits, ooh, very nice. Okay, now moving on, the song mode. Now, this is a huge upgrade from the app that we used to use called Digital Piano Controller app, because for the first time now, I can access these 50 classical music masterpieces. Let's say, I'll do Turkish March by Mozart. Now, are you ready for it? Boom, I have the entire score display here, and I can play it back. Now let's say I just want to isolate the left hand. I can pull the right hand out because all I want to do is practice the left hand. Or maybe just the right hand. Very quick, very easy. Also, this has a score display, so I can record something and the score will show up. This is revolutionary stuff, really amazing. Now, one of the cool things about the song mode is Music Library. Don't blink or you're going to miss this, you guys. Music Library accesses my iTunes music library, okay? These are songs that I've purchased, not streaming, but purchased on iTunes. Now, if I go down here, let's say I'm going to grab a song that I wrote, Gabriel Aldort, right here. Now, this is called Ain't Gonna Forget My Keys. This is audio, folks. This is not MIDI. Now, what Smart Pianist will do is it'll select the song, okay? It'll analyze the audio. You can see the progress bar. It's very fast. And like magic, it'll convert that song to a chord chart. Now, I can play back the song and listen and see the chords represented right on Smart Pianist.
When I was young and carefree, I met B. Oh, it was B and me.
Pretty cool, right? Now, getting content in and out of Smart Pianist is a breeze because we have a Dropbox link. And to access it, it's super simple. You just go into Utility, okay? Go to System, and Dropbox is right here. I can log on to my account. I can also record audio with Smart Pianist. As you can see, I can change the audio recording format from professional standard WAV file to Apple's own proprietary AAC, which is lossless audio. So as you just saw, navigating the features of the P-515 using the Smart Pianist app is a breeze. It really streamlines the workflow interface, beautiful visual representations of every mode. It's a breeze. It's absolutely free on the Apple iOS store. Go and check it out. You can even download it and demo the app without even being connected to the 515. How cool is that? Well, I'm Gabriel Aldort. Thank you for joining me on this tour of the P-515, a new high watermark in what a portable digital piano can be. Always a pleasure to be here with Kraft Music, and don't forget to practice.